not my opinions, just the facts from the case. An interesting note in the paper was that apparently in 2020, Google conducted a study to see what would happen to their bottom line if it, quote, were to significantly reduce the quality of its search product, end quote. The conclusion was that even if the company made search bad, the revenue from search would still be fine. On this, the judge wrote, quote, the fact that Google can make product changes without concern that its users might go elsewhere is something only a firm with monopoly power could do.
That's what I said. I've been saying not just about Google, but all the stuff, you know, the Democrats, period. They're not afraid. That's why, like I said, why they keep like today. And that's what I'm telling them now is almost like not almost, it's me helping them. That's why I keep like, dude, it's over. Y'all don't understand. It's over. Y'all don't have no more monopoly protection. It's over. Not just, this comes out today or a day ago, and the day before that, they take away that 40-year protection for the feds. It's always these niggas still running around like they got no common sense. The cops too. It's over.
On this, the judge wrote, quote, the fact that Google can make product changes without concern that its users might go elsewhere is something only a firm with monopoly power could do. Okay, so let's dig deeper.
I mean, everybody know, y'all youngsters, there's also like a dude or a bitch who think they man or woman, you know, you're female. He ain't going nowhere. You know, you just, yeah. But see, or dude, she ain't going nowhere. And we all know better than that for men. Yeah, it's like, nah, bro, I don't care who you are. You could be pretty Tony, pretty Ricky. Yeah, that literally, yeah, it's like there's no guarantee. But even for a woman either, you could be a 10. Is that what men are dot? No, nope. Human nature. Yeah, we don't know what might trigger. And sometimes but see, that's what I'm saying. If that's your only reason, but either way, thinking that's what I'm saying. Taking it, oh, well, okay, taking for granted. Yeah, exactly. That's what it's taking for granted. But with a company, they're not taking for granted. They know for a fact. And some people could, yeah, mob boss, he can keep his girl from, you know, but that still doesn't, we seen that in the Bible, you know. Or it's always, we've seen it with slavery, all of that, not just American slavery. Yeah, this nigga could literally kill anybody that fucking, and she still cheat. He could kill her and the dude she cheat with, but she do it anyway. And that happened for a fact, you know.
The case cites that since there's no other game in town for search advertising, advertisers had no choice but Google in order to reach more people. Google could then increase prices. The other problem, according to the ruling, was that prices were raised incrementally to blend in with normal market fluctuations, and this was to reduce the likelihood of advertisers noticing. Incremental price changes led to consistent revenue growth without significant complaints from advertisers. Google went as far as to do internal studies to show that advertisers did indeed not notice and just thought that the price hikes were just part of the overall market. The DOJ also cites that Google tuned their mechanisms.
See that low down shit like that. That's what I, you know, in the early days of the, you know, after I got the 2000s, a lot of stuff I thought that's just the way, you know, and they know people like that's where they were taking advantage. They thought we were suckers. It's just we didn't know what was going on, and now they're gonna reap the whirlwind for what they did. Yeah, taking advantage, and that's why most people like us, we don't take advantage because we don't want to reap the whirlwind after we done got away with it, you know, 10 years, 15 years, whatever. And then your head busts out of nowhere because they didn't figure it out. The best way to avoid that is don't do it at all. And you can literally make a lot of money. Maybe not as much, but you're going to make a lot that you're going to make definitely more than what you need by being honest. And you ain't got to look over your shoulder and do all this dirt to cover shit up and pay off politicians. You ain't got to do none of that shit. And they can't say nothing to, and they don't own you. You don't have to do what they say. They don't own you. That's what I'm saying. So not only is like, no, bitch, I ain't got to do what you say. Fuck you, nigga. That's why y'all mad now. Y'all, yeah, exactly. All day long, y'all coming at me because you can't control me. Because I don't own you. I don't owe you. I don't owe you nothing. So you're mad. There's nothing you can do. That's what I'm telling you. Don't do that shit. That's how you get your blessing. The Google, y'all ain't been blessed. Y'all ain't got no blessings. All you got is demonic shit, and now that shit is coming to bite you in the ass.
For determining ad costs. Quote, Google adjusts the parameters of the auction function, how advertisers bid for ad space, in order to improve long-term revenue. This work has resulted in products which add several $billion in incremental revenue annually. End quote. And this next point is pretty interesting. The ruling goes on to say that when Google grew concerned...
Oh yeah, another thing I know I gotta keep talking. Y'all really thought everybody does it. That's how the white, that's where they fucked y'all up with that shit. They been doing it. The white folk, they mad. Yeah, exactly. Because one of the Democrats would get busted. Oh, and y'all wasn't even mad because she was a black female or black. Y'all were just, but y'all were mad about the black and also the stealing, and because y'all were, y'all were doing fucked up shit in your own life. Not on that level, maybe stealing time from or whatever. And it comes. And so y'all were like, the white folks been doing it. They been doing it. They just mad that now that we doing it, they just mad about it. Now that and it's like, no, not us. Our side, we don't do. I'm telling you, it's humanly impossible. Well, there was so and so was it that mean they were a fake Republican, and that's a fact. That's something that there's nothing y'all can do. And like I said, there's always you gonna tell on yourselves. There's no way you can fake it. Y'all, you call us anytime. Damn. We go cuss and fuss. All right, I'll be there. Shit, as soon as I can. And yeah, they call me. I'm always showing them. Y'all, you got excuses. I can't. I need. Can you help? I need help. Can you help? No.
Targets. A code yellow was called. Basically, it was an instruction to get all hands on deck to subtly raise advertiser pricing without too many noticing. The company knew they could do this, yet again from more internal studies, showing that advertisers would pay more than they currently were without leaving. The judge stated, quote, the trial evidence firmly establishes Google's monopoly power and has enabled Google to increase text ad prices without any meaningful competitive constraint. I know what some of you would be saying. Well, who cares about advertisers getting fleeced? All advertisers do is track you and follow you around on the off chance that you'll buy something that you've previously been Googling. And there is an argument to be made there, but there's a second order consequence. If advertisers have to pay higher costs to Google, they can then turn around and pass some of that cost on to you, the consumer. Google has been paying Apple and Samsung billions of dollars annually to install Google as the default search engine on their smartphones and web browsers. Quote, in return for exclusive and non-exclusive default placements, Google pays Apple $20 billion in 2022, end quote. This is apparently, quote, almost double the payment Google made in 2020, which at the time was 17.5% of Apple's operating profit. So why would Google do this? Well, consumers tend to buy more things on their phone, and for iPhones, quote, Google receives almost 95% of general search queries, end quote. And with billions of iPhones out there, that's a lot of ads, which means a lot of revenue. The DOJ didn't like that. Quote, Google's distribution agreements foreclose a substantial portion of the general search services market and impairs rivals' opportunities to compete, end quote. The DOJ thinks that it's actually the monopoly on the phone browsing market that enabled Google to consistently raise the prices of online advertising without consequences, as we discussed earlier. It turns out that back in the days of Steve Jobs, and for a little bit after that, Apple was looking to make their own search engine.
But they had a search project in the works when Steve Jobs was in charge over there. They were looking at search because he had such an axe to grind with Eric Schmidt because they launched Android and he kicked Eric Schmidt off the board, and there was a lot of hand-wringing there. I think Apple is, and I've heard this from folks around Apple, I believe Apple's going to launch their own search engine and compete heads up with Google.
But now, Google has Apple in golden handcuffs with a $20 billion yearly deal. In the contract, Apple is basically not allowed to innovate on any of their own search engines. The judge also scolds Google for destroying and hiding evidence. They allege that Google trained employees to not leave a paper trail or, quote, bad evidence behind. Quote, Any company that puts the onus on its employees to identify and preserve relevant evidence does so at its own peril. Google avoided sanctions in this case. It may not be so lucky in the next one. Entrepreneur and angel investor David Friedberg gives an interesting viewpoint. In his view, the ruling is more anti-success than it is anti-consumer.
I'll also say it just feels like the tenor of all of this is anti-success and not anti-competition. And anything that's kind of successful or big is automatically deemed to be a monopoly. And I think we really have to kind of understand.
It's like, nope, the rest of us, we're against all that government overregulation. You're just mad because you're a Democrat.
Berg gives an interesting viewpoint. In his view, the ruling is more anti-success than it is.
It's like, nope, that's not success. Because if you got to do all that, like I said, like Jordan, you ain't got to worry about it. I got proof. And matter of fact, why are there no other companies? You can say you're not fooling nobody. That's what I'm saying. Nerds, you're a nerd. You're no pussy. That's what I'm telling you. That's literally you see, that has to do. You say that I'm telling you, that is the bottom line for any male. If you're supposed to have testosterone and testes, that nerd, no, he's trying to talk. You're not gonna talk your way into cheating, bruh. Like I said, you should have learned that by the time you're 3 years old. You don't cheat. You don't cheat. You trying to take, Google, this dude. You trying to take your ball. He's an angel investor. I know what that is. I looked it up in the early 2000s. Angel investors. But that's all Democrat shit. West Coast, leftists, angel investors. You gotta have, nowadays it's a startup. A startup, you're looking for an angel investor. Yeah, I've been looked it up decades ago. But I'm like, I don't need this shit. I do it on my own credit, this and that. And y'all tried to, whatever, kill me for that. But this fucking is like, no, bro, you're not gonna talk your way out of this ass kicking. That's why you got swirlies and wedgies in middle school and high school. You tried to talk your way, and you're a fucking nerd.
Anti-consumer.
I'll also say it just feels like the tenor of all of this is anti-success and not anti-competition.
He's trying to, no, don't nobody, our side, no, ain't nobody hating on you. That's what he's trying to say. Anti-success, ain't nobody hating. We ain't no player haters. We're congratulators. But not when you cheat. I never congratulated a cheater, ever in my life. I don't like cheaters. You ain't gonna make it in my world trying to be a cheater.
And anything that's kind of successful or big is automatically deemed to be a monopoly.
And not only that, they tell projecting Democrats. Like I said, I'm successful. Y'all what are y'all doing? Running around, losing your minds, trying to bring me down. It's not gonna work this time because I know who I'm facing now.
Understand how are consumers and the market for competition being affected by having all these things together, and that's what should really be focused on.
And another thing, like everybody says, I noticed that 2014, you could look up anything. And it was right there. Matter of fact, even before that, they even gang stalked me about it. Literally, they tried to act like they would compliment me. And this is, I'm like 28, 29, he could find anything on it. And I'm like, all you got to do, and literally, I would just type something in. If you're looking for a starter or whatever, or you're looking for anything, just type in whatever. I don't know how to bake this and that, a cherry pie or apple pie. That's how simple it was. You just wanted to, how do I bake a apple? They literally gang stalked me for that. That wasn't what I typed. I'm just saying. That's how I couldn't understand. What the fuck are y'all talking? Why are y'all? I know some of them was older, but I'm like, no, y'all was in the 80s and y'all worked with computers. Not home computers, that was your job. So there's no way you're confused by computers in the 2000s. You worked in the tape room with tapes, them type in the early 80s. The tapes, all that, you see it in the movies, that shit, I know for a fact. So it's like, no, there's no way you're confused. That IBM shit, so there's no way, but it was gang stalking. That's why I'm confused. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That I know the new age stuff, but that searches in Google. No. Common sense. So no, this is bullshit. Remember, I've been said I used to be able to type in a lyric 2014, and stuff supposed to be more updated. I mean, obscure gangster rap song, not something popular that everybody know. From back in the '80s. Salt and pepper. You know, push it or shoot or no something. Just hardcore gangster. I can just type it because I'm trying to remember. It's 2014. This is 20. I just type in part of it. It will pop up now. Some shit called whatever pops up, and I got to go over. I got to type in more and more and da da da. But it used to, you could just type in 3 words, 3 verses of an obscure gangster rap song, and the whole thing would just pop. The song would pop up. What I'm saying, it ain't about gangster rap. What I'm saying is, it was there. It would pop up, and like they're saying, now all you get is Reddit and all. Yeah, exactly. It's like no, there's no. Oh, it's better for the consumer. No, everything's fucked up. And like they said, that's a monopoly. We ain't got no choice. So they didn't make it. Yeah, so this dude success. No, it's not success. You're full of shit. Everybody knows.
Studied not just the fact that something is big and successful.
Jason Kalakanis, another angel investor, states that Google does not in fact have a monopoly on the ads business. Meta, Amazon, and TikTok are also huge players.
They do have a massive monopoly in search. That's absolutely true, and the Justice Department, I think, is well within their rights to take a deep dive on that. They don't have it in ads. If you look at the competition for Google in advertising, you got Meta, TikTok, and Amazon, which have very, very significant advertising businesses, and then like a bunch of new players, which are referred to basically as the shopping cart networks. That's Uber, Instacart, DoorDash, etc. And so when you look at this, it really does rhyme with what happened with Microsoft. They're 2 decades late on this. The search monopoly has been squeezed for every dollar and to build every subcomponent of Google's monopoly.
At the time of the antitrust ruling, Google argued that its distribution deals are common in the business world. They equated paying for search engine default privileges on phones to be the same as if a food manufacturer pays to promote products at eye level in a grocery store aisle. The way Google sees it, if you don't like Google, you can switch the default engine on your device. But people don't switch, says Google, because they prefer Google. Google has also stated that they're going to appeal the decision of them being a monopoly. On the flip side, when it comes to the default status of Google on iPhones, Apple themselves aren't a fan of Bing. Eddie Q, Apple's senior vice president, said, quote, "I don't believe there's a price in the world that Microsoft could offer us to set Bing as the default in Safari over Google. They offered to give us Bing for free. They could give us the whole company," end quote. But also, take that with a grain of salt, because it might be in Apple's best interest to defend Google. It's actually written in that $20 billion contract with Google. Part of the contract obligates both Google and Apple to defend this agreement, quote, "in response to regulatory actions, i.e. DOJ antitrust lawsuits, just like this one." Okay, so that's the ruling, but it doesn't leave you satisfied. What does this all mean, and what happens next? And what about the calls to break up Google? Justice Department officials...
Honestly, like I said, if they don't make them break up, and it's not just Google, because they, me personally, they delete my comments and da-da-da-da and blah, blah. I just think it's not right for any of us, all of us. Like I said, it needs to be healthy. That's what it's called, healthy competition. At least 3 or 4 other companies that you can go to. Like I said, like I go into a store, everybody, whatever, the employees or the gangs or whatever. Okay, I ain't coming. And then, like I said, I know I'm not hurting this. Like Walmart. I don't go to Walmart, right? And even, I know I'm not hurting them. My $5 or $20, or even if I bought $100 worth, it's not hurting me. Taking away my $100 purchase is not hurting Walmart in the least bit. Not even the size of, mosquito bite is little, but that we all can feel it. One person going away, that's not even a mosquito bite. That's not, that is something you cannot even feel. And I know that, but it's the opposite. It's your dignity. I'm not giving you my money. Everybody else can go, and that's fine. I'm not mad at them. What I'm saying is, you're just not getting my money. Unless I absolutely have to, whatever. Then I might, whatever. But it's like, because it's something that I need right now. But I can count on one hand the time I've been to Walmart in the last year. In 2 years, it's it's like the 3, whatever.
Discussing their options, including breaking up Google so that their Chrome browser could be sold as a separate company. Same with Google's Android smartphone operating system. Other options may include even separating YouTube from Google.
Department of Justice is considering breaking up Google after winning an antitrust case against the search giant just last week. The hearing is set for early September.
Maybe forcing Google to divest the Android operating system and the Chrome browser. Those are two of the suggestions that we had heard from people with knowledge of this case.
Even if you don't actually get a breakup, it can divert resources, talent, money, capital towards fighting these antitrust battles and make a company miss out on innovation that led to a lost decade at Microsoft. So that is the
There they go with their little whatevers. And they can't even tell that lie. You're gonna miss that up. What innovations? The only innovations is more spying on this technology. What innovation has any of us seen with Google in the last 10 years? Nothing. The search, like I said, everybody points out is worse. You type in something, all you get is Reddit and about 6-7 suggestions, and that's it. But it's supposed to be Google. And back in the day, 10 years ago, you would get you could keep scrolling. Now it's nothing but Reddit and this and that. Matter of fact, that's what I got for when about my car the other day. It was on a Reddit thing, and I still ended up having to go buy more stuff and do that. But not because they were wrong per se. It's the wrong diagnosis.
here for Google as well, but the idea of a breakup has been raised that the DOJ is going to ask the judge to consider.
But there's a possibility that Google could even break itself up. The last time something similar happened was back in 1982, when AT&T broke itself up, and this was to dispel the antitrust pressure from the government.
That's a thing, y'all. That's what I keep saying. Remember, I keep telling y'all, you better just do it, get ahead of it. That's what I always, I've been learning to do that. That's what y'all get mad about. You especially black folks, y'all try. Why you gonna do this? I wait till they catch me. Or just like, nah, brother, I ain't doing all this. It's gonna be worse. But really, I never had to do something like that when it's serious. I'm talking about just little stuff, But like I said, I would never do something like that where.
Opportunity to do something really interesting here, which is get ahead of the curve and break itself up before the political system forces that.
This deal was pulled from ground zero. Now it's part of a memorial dedicated to the
forces that onto it. The big categories would be search, advertising, and YouTube. And I think that would have two big economic benefits for shareholders. One is you unlock value by deconglomerating. Second, once you break up the company into these pieces, there's less places for employees who aren't doing anything to hide, for all this bureaucracy to hide. I mean, look, Google is famous for employees who don't do anything, right? The guys sitting on the roof, sunning themselves all day. If you break up the company into 3 or 4 smaller companies, right, there's just way less room for people to hide.
The DOJ could also force Google to make its advertising knowledge available to its rivals. But the most likely scenario is mandating that Google abandon the deals with Apple that made its search engine the default option, and the same goes for the deal with the Android manufacturers too. Law professor Spencer Weber-Waller agrees, quote, "There are no fines or monetary penalties in these types of cases, but the court will have to decide whether Google should be broken up in some way. More likely, it will order Google to eliminate the exclusive contracts and licensing restrictions that have reinforced its monopoly position for years," end quote. Now to the latest updates. On September 6, 2024, in Washington, a hearing was held by the DOJ. The result of the hearing was that Google was going to be given an outline in December as to what they should do to restore competition in the market. The prosecution hasn't finalized the details of the recommendation, but Justice Department Attorney David Dalquist said that
that's like the ruling last week. I bet they want to say, the judges, you're not tech expert. We don't have to be tech. Well, I'm just, none of us. You don't have to be a tech expert. We're telling you the law. I gives a fuck. There's literally, I gives a fuck about your technology. We know the law. That's what they're saying. And they're not trying to rule over you. They're doing what's the law, and that's what these laws were made hundreds of years ago. You like there was no such thing as technology. No, nope. Now, like I said, I'm a Law and Order, you know, since the beginning. I ain't watched it in years though. You know, especially by the late 2000s. I mean, early 2000s or whatever. Technology, the law has to catch up with technology. But again, that's Democrat shit. Because I'm like, why is it taking so long? And it's like, well, you're not a senator or a Congress lawmaker. It's like, no, y'all just need to buckle down and do it. I don't want to hear, oh, we're bogged down. Okay, oh well. You're not, yeah, you're not in Afghanistan, so you get to go home every night, you know, to your wife, kids. So buckle down, have it, and change these laws to update to the goddamn, to the internet. That's our problem. All the Democrats, we can get bogged down. Okay, we're gonna bog your ass down in Afghanistan somewhere and see how you like that. We're not even in the military. You wasn't, but.
Weeping. The recommendations may include what we just covered, but interestingly, the DOJ is specifically looking at the intersection of artificial intelligence and Google's plans. During the hearing, there was lots of talk about Google's Gemini and what else Google had up their sleeve. Meanwhile, Google said that they were concerned that the DOJ will hamstring their efforts in the next generation of search technology. Google's attorney, John Smeedline, said at the hearing that the company requires an in-depth proposal from the US government prosecutors. He said that they need to know.
Yeah, like I said, there's no hate. Oh, you're just mad at success. Like, nope, you're not gonna try that. We're old enough to know it's a monopoly. You're not near nobody. Oh, you're mad at success. Nope, you just want to be the belle. Yeah. Like I said, a nerd. You're like a bitch who wants to be the only one, the only pretty girl. You know, and so you do whatever it takes to get rid of all of the other, you know, a dude, like I said, dudes, we like other dudes who are like us, you know, hey, we all happy, shit, we finna kill this bitch, yeah, all of, what's up, hey, what's up, is they going, come on, man, no, you know, he'll want to know, but we all want him there, come on, man, females, Megan, I hate Megan, exactly, because Megan's pretty, yeah, exactly, those are females, guys, come on, man, you gotta go, dude, come on, man, no, man, you going, exactly, we all done it before, I got goosebumps, we all done it, we all done made somebody come, all right, man, damn, I'm coming, hold up, let me get changed, you know, I gotta take a shower, all right, nigga, we ain't leaving, you know, we sitting here till you hurry up, you know. They tried to make girls like that movies, girl code and girl. No, that's just whole shit. That's just sluts. But anyway.
Possible. Could also turn out that Google could reach out to Microsoft and OpenAI to come to their aid in regards to convincing the government that AI search isn't going to be dominated by Google. After this, around next August, there'll be another hearing where the judge will give his opinion. In the meantime, the Department of Justice and Google will begin the discovery process to argue the respective cases. And if all of that isn't enough, Google has even more to worry about. The company is under fire at the moment. A second case by the DOJ will be shining a critical light on Google's online advertising business specifically. In the second trial, the court will want to know, does Google have a monopoly in the online ad industry? Did they achieve this monopoly through anti-competitive behavior?
Google is heading back to the courtroom next week. The tech giant clashing with the Department of Justice again.
Back in court again. Openings start on Monday, and this is just on the heels a month after Google suffered this defeat in another federal court. But here's what this case is about. It's really different from the search case. What the Department of Justice in 17 states are saying is that there are 3 advertising technology markets where Google is also an illegal monopolist. And mind you, these markets are defined by the DOJ, and this is something that the DOJ and the states have to prove up. They say these markets are the networks that Google owns, where advertisers buy space. They say that Google controls 80% of that market. Also, the servers that publishers use to sell space for advertisements. DOJ says 91% ownership by Google there. And also the exchange where the parties meet to make these deals.
Google may have to fight tooth and nail to keep the status quo. You all know Firefox, right? The web browser. Well, that's made by a company called Mozilla. The weird thing is that over 83% of Mozilla's revenue is made up from Google payments. The total number of Firefox users continues.
We see what's up with that, but let's, I want to check
Freedom
this
of
out.
speech scares the hell out of a lot of people, specifically countries who are ran by people who flirt with being a dictator, like this guy here, who's had a lot of memes going viral with him on Twitter right now. He's Alexandre de Moraes. He's like the Supreme Court justice, the head of it in Brazil, the guy that influenced Lula, got Lula out of jail for going to jail for Operation Carboy, so he can come out and beat Bolsonaro, so now they can run Brazil again. And he hates X, he hates Twitter, he hates Musk, specifically because of freedom of speech. And by the way, when you look at other countries that have banned X, you got China, Iran, North Korea. Notice those three countries: Russia, Pakistan, and now Venezuela. Can't stand it. There's
all the communist countries. I didn't know Brazil was gonna go communist. Damn, Brazil. But we still got Dominican. I'm just talking shit. But
a lot of things going on right now with Brazil and X. We're going to talk about that today. If you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. By the way, people are defending Brazil and Alexandre de Moraes, like the actor Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. Look what he said on X. By the way, Mark Ruffalo in this tweet is quoting de Moraes. Watch this. Elon Musk showed.
And everybody hate Mark Ruffalo, little bitch ass. Like I said, Lou Ferrigno is the real Hulk, and he didn't need CGI, so he just a little bitch, whatever. Yeah, how could it, there you go with the weird. He is weird. You're not weird. You're a millionaire who's mad because the people get to speak out. How is he disrespecting by letting the people speak out?
Total disrespect for Brazilian sovereignty and in particular for the judiciary, setting himself up as a true supranational entity and immune to the laws of each country. You know what Ruffalo says? Because he is a weird and entitled billionaire tech bro. Tax him heavily. Mark, you know what's crazy about your tweet? You're saying this while you turned off the comment section. And by the way, you don't turn off the comment section all the time, because I went through the tweet to see if you normally do this with everything. You don't. But on this one, you did, because you and the dictator from Brazil have something in common. You don't like criticism. You don't like people disagreeing with you. You don't like people saying you are wrong. You have that in common with them. By the way, that is as anti-American as it can be, because Mark, the country that helped you become super famous and successful, some of the founding fathers said the following. Here's a man named Benjamin Franklin. You ever heard of him before? Here's what he said. Freedom of speech is a principal pillar of a free government. When this support is taken away, the constitution of a free society is dissolved and tyranny is erected on its ruins. You, Mark Ruffalo, are flirting with tyranny. Here's another one for you, George Washington. The freedom of speech may be taken away, and dumb and silent we may be led like a sheep to the slaughter. Listen one more time. Dumb and silent, that we may be led like sheep to the slaughter. George Washington said this about freedom of speech. George Orwell, if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. You can say to us.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo, but all of them, nobody watches Marvel no more. Nobody, they destroyed it. And none of us who are up, well, why do y'all matter so much? I would think 80s kids, because, really, that's when Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends came out. You're like, no, dumbasses. That was like the biggest, there were other, the 60s, Spider-Man, or Spider-Man, that was a repeat when I was a kid. But Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was brand new in 1979, 1980, when I was 5. Like I said, I didn't know the dude talking at the beginning. I never forget. Every Saturday, hello, true believers. I can't do Stan Lee. I didn't know that was the guy who created it back then. Now, of course, everybody knows who Stan Lee is, but back then, it was just Spider-Man and Firestar and Iceman. That's why I was wondering why they never had Firestar in any of the X-Men movies. The new ones since 2000, what was it, 2001, the first one? With Hugh Jackman and Halle Berry. I'm like, they had Storm, that's Halle Berry, but I'm like, where's Firestar? They got Ice, they finally brought in Iceman. But them three, as a kid, that's how the difference between the mutant. But they all met in college, right? They went to New York University, whatever, you know, and then they found out they all had powers, but Spider-Man powers was because of that, you know, the experiment. I mean, going to that thing, you know, whatever, and he got bit by radioactive spider. And you know, and he met Angelica and Bobby Drake, right? And you know, as 5, 6 year old, you know, they were X-Men. And when they finally, but they was able to live with Spider-Man because they were in college studying the X-Men. But they did take him to visit because you know Wolverine always hated him back then, you know. But they tried to, you know, update that in the last couple of movies in the last 10 years, you know, with the Andrew Garfield, yeah, all that, you know, Wolverine, because Spider-Man's an asshole, you know, whatever, you know, smart mouth. But it been like that, you know. At least for us, I was too young to be collecting comics. But anyway, yeah, it's just going off on Mark Ruffalo, bitch ass. He a little bitch, you know, straight up. And you know he'll never prosper. This is he, whatever it is, he for whatever reason he felt like doing that. They got stuff on him, and I guess he knows it's over for himself. He's done. He's done. He literally hung himself. He committed, you know, suicide. That's what he just did.
But open up the comment sections. Let us criticize you. But we can say to you as well, neither you nor Alexandre de Moraes like that. Now, if you're asking yourself, Pat, what is the reasons for their ban? Is there a timeline for? Let's go through a timeline. What happened here? So, background: Brazil banned X as of Saturday, following a legal order by Supreme Court Justice, again, Alexandre de Moraes. The ban came after Elon Musk, the owner of X, refused to name a legal representative in the country. Reason for the ban: the suspension is linked to accusations that X was involved in obstruction, criminal organizations, and incitement. Specifically, the platform was accused of supporting digital militias, spreading defamatory fake news, and threat against Supreme Court justices. Moraes accused X of creating an environment of total impunity during the 2024 election cycle and enabling extremist groups to spread harmful content. To him, whatever is exposing him is harmful to him, which we get it. As a dictator, flirting with being a dictator, that's a problem for him. So impact approximately.
I mean, basically, it's like it's 2024, dude. You can't. There are no more dictators ever. You have to shut down the whole internet all over the world to be a dictator. There's only one dictator left, Kim Jong-un. And see, the problem with the rest of y'all, or whatever, is Lil Kim, right? Lil Kim. The rest of y'all still want to be world players and this and that. You notice Lil Kim, he stays to himself. He lets his people starve. But y'all, Brazil, y'all want to go to the Olympics. You want to be a dictator, but you want to be a darling. Again, exactly. You want to be the belle of the ball. Brazil, Venezuela, y'all still want to play ball with the rest of the free world and be a dictator. It's not going to work. You got to be like Lil Kim. And yeah, I am calling him like Lil Kim from Junior Mafia. Big shit. I'm being funny. Lil Kim. What? You got it going on. But what is it, Kim Jong? Yeah, he stays. Look, he let his people die. All that, you know. That's basically what you got to do. There, you can't be, you know, Brazil. You know, Elon. You can't fight with Elon. You can't. It's not gonna work, bro. You see Lil Kim trying to fight with Elon? No, he just cuts the whole internet off. He don't need help because everybody gonna starve except for him. And we know how that ends. History shows us how that ends. Wouldn't be me, but
40 million Brazilian, or about 1/5 of the population, use X at least once per month, according to the market research group eMarketer. Now the penalties, ready for this one? Users connecting X through a VPN face a daily fine of 50,000 reais, which is $8,900 a day is what the fine is. You multiply times 30, you're looking at $270,000 a month fine in Brazil. You ready for this next one? Timeline for ban enforcement. Brazil's telecommunication authorities has 24 hours to implement the suspension, and Apple and Google have 5 days to block X on their platforms and remove its app. Internet service providers also have 5 days to block access to X. Did you understand here? This is crazy. How afraid of X de Moraes and enforcement? Brazil's telecommunication authorities has 24 hours to implement the suspension, and Apple and Google have 5 days to block X on their platforms. And
I mean, that is some whole shit. That's what literally Whole shit. That's what that means in gangster rap. Brazil, delete that dude. That's some whole shit. You mad? I don't want to play. No, I'm taking my ball. That's some whole shit. You acting like a little bitch. That's what you see. Y'all tried to say the way I talk is disrespectful or or maybe whatever. Now you see, why do you think the white folks didn't shun me? Because they knew I was telling the truth. They did, the language, I remember I would leave comments and y'all, the little black folks get this. No, you ain't supposed to talk like that. Like, no, you little stupid bitch, get away from me. Literally, you're a bitch. They knew exactly what I was talking about. They understood. White liberals know. No, I said white folks. These white liberals are not even white people. They're demonic. These are demons.
Remove its app. Internet service providers also have 5 days to block access to X. Did you understand, Eric? It's crazy how afraid of X de Moraes is.
Yeah, a little scary bitch. You scared. It's like I said, somebody want to play you, and you okay. Now sometimes you could just admit, nah, man, I can't. Whatever. You can't hoop like him, so nah, you ain't gonna. And literally, that's what I'm saying. It's cool. Nobody will clown, like say all of us are watching. We're not gonna clown you because you ain't finna embarrass me. You don't lose no cool points because this nigga. Yeah, but you still can play. But you ain't finna beat you. Or you might be all right, but we just playing. All right, yeah, all right. And he's like, cool. But it's like, well, why you want to play me so bad? Yeah, it's like, well, what yeah, that's why you don't fall for it. Like, why you trying to embarrass me or something? Make a fool out of me? And we all understand that. So now we're against him. Why you being an asshole? You can beat him easily. See what I'm saying? So, but this shit, no, I don't know. I'm taking everything. My dad owns the court. Yeah, whatever. You can't come here no more. Yeah, all that. That's some whole shit. We'll all just go find somewhere else to go. Even us who don't play, but we just chilling at the basketball. We all leaving. All of us. Everybody leaving.
It's not a pushover. He's not going to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to do this for you. No, here's Musk. He openly challenged a Brazilian court's order, posting defined messages on X, including an AI-generated image of Justin Moraes behind bars. Musk, a self-proclaimed free speech absolutist, criticized the court's actions as censorship. And in August, Musk announced the immediate closure of X's operations in Brazil after the court threatened the platform's legal representative would arrest for non-compliance with court orders. Now, the consequences of this, the Moraes has a reason for doing this. The suspension of X could significantly affect Brazil's local elections in October 2024, depriving thousands of candidates of a major campaign tool. X has been a vital platform in Brazil where it has around 20 million active users in the first quarter of 2024, and support for conservative circles. Musk's stance has gained support from Brazil's conservative groups who have long accused the judiciary of bias against their interests. Now, this is crazy because we're talking Brazil, but you know who else is interested in doing the same thing that Brazil is doing? EU. Watch this here with EU. So, according to BBC, EU accuses Musk's X of breaching Digital Services Act, and their accusations and investigations is the following. EU has accused...
I say these motherfuckers trying to start World War III. And the thing is, they're gonna lose. So they got something. They plan on something. They're suicidal. I think they want to launch.
Musk's social media platform X of violating the EU Digital Services Act. The main concern is that the platform's verified blue tick accounts may deceive users into believing the identity of these accounts is verified, when in reality anyone can pay for blue tick. And evidence of the abuse, the EU's tech regulator found evidence of malicious actors exploiting the blue tick systems to deceive users, raising concerns about the platform's transparency and the potential for misinformation. The findings are as a result of a 7-month investigation under the DSA, which was introduced in 2022. The act mandates the large tech companies, X, including X, to take steps to prevent illegal content and protect the public. Notice that they were not investigating pre-Musk buying it. They never were too curious when Biden, Harris, they were sitting there getting involved saying, take this down, take that down. They were okay with all the people that got taken down for questioning the vaccine. They were okay with that. But God forbid now Musk allows people to go out there and talk about content. Oh no, we can't do that at all. And by the way, when Musk got people to pay for the $15 for the blue check mark, whatever the cost was, it filtered out a lot of the bots. So Musk actually eliminated more bots. Where back in the days, under the former CEO, they kind of liked those fake bots.
All the bots, exactly. And then, honestly, I was thinking, I might go back to Twitter or whatever and pay the $15 just for the hell of it. Just because I thought about it for a second, I should go get me a blue check, $15, because the stupid Democrat. Oh, that you gonna waste your money? Nope. How's that? You can't afford $15? Something wrong with you. Exactly. You're a moron. If it's a waste of 15. Look, you don't know how to budget. You're a fucking moron.
Filter any of those out. So organizations, you can pay a lot of money to create fake retweets and fake likes and make something seem bigger and go viral because they had millions of fake accounts that could cause that to happen. But not today. They're not a fan of that today, that they're paying for it. Watch this. Watch the fine they're following. If X is found in violation of the DSA, it could face fines up to 6% of its global annual turnover and be forced to make significant changes to its annual operations within the EU, along with other tech giants like ByteDance's TikTok, AliExpress, and Meta platforms is under scrutiny as well for its handling of illegal content and misinformation. Now, obviously, all this stuff is, some are saying it's probably impacting his business. Let's look at some numbers here to see what it looks like. Revenue decline at X. Here's what it looks like. Since Musk acquired X for $44 billion, the platform has seen a dramatic drop in revenue. In the second quarter of 2024, X generated only $114 million in the US, a staggering 84% decrease from $661 million.
Just like anything, all of that money that they were making in the beginning. So actually, that's 114 real million dollars. 84% decrease. All the other money was stolen taxpayer money from the Democrats and communists. That's all that was, who were trying to take, that, like I said, startup money. George Soros paying for it. So that was that 661 million was all money laundering and bullshit. Actually, that 114 million is actual real profit. Actual legal profit. So it's a success. I don't care what you say.
It earned in the same period of 2022 before Musk took over. This is how much many companies can't stand freedom of speech, and the fact that Musk is running it. Reasons for the decline: significant revenue drop is largely attributed to advertisers pulling out due to Musk's controversial statements and actions. Additionally, X's decision to sue some of these advertisers has likely exasperated the situation.
Why you think he doing all that? He know what he doing. Exactly. This was all in preparation. It's over with. All those companies, I said they should be in prison. And it's not out of spite. It's for what they did to all of us.
Potential businesses, by the way.
And not just from stopping you from speaking. Your family members are dead because of what they done. I'm talking about people, all that shit, the carjacking, all of this is connected.
Dollars may be down, but do you know what traffic looks like on X? They have blown up since then with active users. And by the way, keep in mind,
real people. That's what I'm saying. It was a win. They got real people now. Before that was all bullshit. All the revenue that wasn't real revenue. That was money laundering. Democrats stealing taxpayer money. 661 million. Yeah, that would go unnoticed. Not even unnoticed. It's a little bit in the yearly fiscal budget for the whole United States. That's nothing.
But a lot of people are like, well, the traffic on X has gone down. Not necessarily it's gone up. What Elon did do is he eliminated fake business. He eliminated the bots, which were allowed to be on back in the days, because when he was buying Twitter, do you know what's one of the requests he made? He says, can you tell me how many of the accounts are active? They didn't want to give the report, and it was bullshit. He's like, no, I don't believe you. I don't know if you remember that interaction back and forth when he was trying to buy X, and they didn't want to give him the real data, because he said, this thing's got a lot of fake accounts. And then Elon brought the traffic back up. Now,
is he there? They trying to say, that's like if you're trying to buy a used car. Hey, can you give me the Carfax? Nah, you can't get it. I mean, even though Carfax, what I'm saying is, Carfax is the same, same idea. Somebody, you trying to buy a house, and they won't give you this and that record. No, you can't. Well, I'm not finna. But they have no choice because of the laws. Like, nah, they didn't think about it. Basically, they didn't think nobody would do all this. So stupid Democrats, they didn't think. So they didn't cover their asses by trying to change the laws because they were so busy thinking they had everything covered. Stupid people.
Analysts are saying, you know, they're concerned that he may have to sell off some Tesla stock, $1 billion to $2 billion, to be able to fund this thing here because it's not making the kind of money. And Musk had previously pledged that he was not going to sell more Tesla shares until 2025. However, given X's current financial situation, some are saying that he's probably going to sell some Tesla stock. Although he did just get paid his money, the $56 billion, the $55 billion. So maybe if he's going to be able to putting some money into it, he's got the money to pay it out because he took Tesla for being worth whatever it was, $60 billion or $55 billion to 650. He earned his $55 billion that he could put money from there. Now, here's what's crazy. A lot of these people that are bashing and trashing Elon Musk, they better realize how much he's contributing to the world. Let me say this one more time. U.S. better protect this guy and many other people.
See, they call it contributing. You're not, you know, it has not. That's the communist. I know he's not this guy talking. That's what I'm saying. Real people really feel, you know, Elon did something for them. And they don't, that's what I'm saying. That's what I told you. That's how it always look at way before 200, 300 years. Any dictator in the past, what happens? They ended up, the people finally storm the castle. And that's why you don't see shit like that no more. That's why the founders of the United States, they knew better than to do that, because they know eventually they storm the castle, they get tired of that shit, and your ass hanging, and you was the king just yesterday. Now you're not alive. They don't throw you out. They tear you apart. Because you didn't, they and your children and your little baby. They might even throw your little 3-month-old baby that would be a prince. They might throw, look, they don't care. You didn't care that their children were starving. You didn't care that their children were dying from diseases. You did not give a fuck. And you tried to make Republicans look like that, but now the truth is out. Now you're scared because everybody knows the truth. Now I'm glad y'all stupid motherfuckers kept riding around today with y'all big trucks. You know, all y'all dumbass niggas. Damn, you stupid. I tried to help you, but you don't want no help.
Country-wise may protect them. Here's why. So you know everybody's talking about climate change and all this other stuff. Who's the guy that started EVs and everybody else followed his lead? He did. What company was that? Tesla. All right, next one. You know when NASA said, forget about it, we're not going to go out there and, explore what's going on. We're going to take a break. Let's shut it down. I think it was under Obama when that took place. A guy named Elon Musk is like, nah, I think I'm going to go do it myself. Can we get a few $1 billion? And boom, funds it. Gets the government to be part of it as well. And now SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, $62 million each launch. And NASA space launch system is estimated to cost over $2 billion per each launch. He's doing the launch. What costs him $2 billion to do, he's doing it for $62 million. To the point when Boeing's, the two guys that are stuck in space, Boeing's like, we're going to wait till 2025. Elon's like, no, we're going to contribute to come and help you out. How embarrassing is that for Boeing? We can sit there and talk about EV brands. Look at what he did here with EV brands. In U.S. EV sales, no brand comes close to Tesla. You see the green 325, who's number 2? Chevrolet, Ford, Hyundai. You add all the other guys up combined, they're not doing nearly a half of what Tesla is doing. He's dominating there. Last but not least, Starlink. How many military and civilians are using Starlink? And you think he makes money every time he gives these things out? You think it's a profit center for him? In October, Musk said SpaceX's spending on Starlink for Ukraine was approaching $20 million a month, and that the company couldn't fund the service in Ukraine indefinitely. Musk then backtracked and said on Twitter that the company would continue paying for Starlink in Ukraine on its own. Ukraine's government last year said that 42,000 terminals are used by the military, hospitals, businesses, and aid organizations, and they give Musk the middle finger. Better be careful who you're fooling with. This guy's done a lot for society, and I understand why a lot of people won't like this guy, but
because they want, they want to be dictators. Dude, the age of dictator is over. Never be another one again. It's just too much history. Everybody knows. Nobody's gonna be a dictator. Why would you even want to? That shit is lame. Why would you even want to be a dictator? I don't understand. Why in the fuck would you want to be a dictator? I'm dead serious. I'm not being funny. I'm not trying to be good. I'm so good. I would never be. It's not even, stupid people. How would you be a look, what I'm saying is, I'm not even talking about, my spirit is so good. No negative energy of a dictator. All that fake shit. What I'm saying, I don't comprehend why you want to be a fucking dictator, especially knowing how it always ends up. And okay, even if it don't end up like that for you, it's going to end up like that for one of your offspring. It always does. So you might die of old age, but your offspring, your son or your grandson, he gonna get torn to shreds. Especially if it lasts 3 generations. He's definitely gonna get torn to shreds.
I don't know who else is a bigger net positive to society than this guy here. So we best protect this guy. You're not gonna like everything he does, and sometimes he does stuff and he doesn't care what anybody thinks about it. That's typically what happens when somebody thinks as big as he does. You have a choice. Defend dictatorship, defend censorship, defend de Morales' position, defend EU not liking freedom of speech, and you got the other side, defend innovation, defend freedom of speech, just defend pushing the envelope, defend standing up to dictators. Which one you gonna defend? You have a choice to make. That's really we can change Musk's name to anything else. You have 2 things to defend here. These are ideologies. Are you on this side or are you on this side?
This is for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for holding this important hearing today.
No, I said I had stopped watching Forbes.
What I consider as egregious actions taken during the coronavirus pandemic, which led to the unnecessary deaths of thousands of American citizens. Mr. Cuomo, what demographic or group of people are at the greatest risk of death from COVID?
Immunocompromised, senior citizens, what we saw at Kirkland Hospital, Seattle, Washington, as the first experience.
That's right. COVID in particular, it was the elderly and those with comorbidities. The exact population, unfortunately, that occupies every nursing home in this country. Despite that basic medical reality, your administration mandated that nursing homes accept COVID-positive patients, and I've heard you say that they didn't.
I know y'all think this is just a show. I'm telling you. And they're not just mad a show. They're mad. You see how I yell at y'all? I'm not putting on a show. I'm telling you. And they know way more as far as what's going down. It's y'all are done. I'm pretty sure this headline is what he said. This is what they said to him, to Cuomo. What they're I don't even have to watch it. He's saying he has the order. Guaranteed. I have it in my hand, nigga. You up here lying to my face. I'm telling you, like, these motherfuckers ready to fight y'all Democrats. Y'all weak.
Mandated, but they did. It says no. It says here. This is the directive. I have it in my hand.
You have 2 things to defend here. These are ideas.
But they did. It says no. It says here. This is the directive. I have it in my hand. It says no resident shall be denied readmission or admission to the nursing home solely based on confirmed or suspected diagnosis of COVID-19. So your assertion that the nursing home had the ability to turn these patients away is absolutely incorrect based on this. They did not have the ability to do that. They could not turn them away. By doing this, you sentenced many of the residents there to death because these residents that were in the nursing home that didn't have COVID, that were immunocompromised, that had comorbidities, that were elderly, were destined to get COVID at that particular point when you're bringing known COVID positive patients into the hospital. Even if you prohibited patients prior to admission, which would have been, you didn't allow them to test them. And that would have been key.
Like I said, only people that would have died, the old folks, that's where they sent them.
Thank you, Chairman Wenstrup. Today is long overdue. And just as a reminder for the public tuning in, we are here today on behalf of the over 15,000.
But see, that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. Never hold office again. That motherfucker need to be in prison.
Suspended without objection. Mr. President, it's no secret that Democrats increasingly subscribe to the philosophy that if you don't like the way the game is going, you change the rules. We've seen it in striking fashion with the Supreme Court. Democrats respond to pretty much every Supreme Court decision that they don't like these days with claims not just that the court's decision was wrong, but that the court itself is illegitimate. And as the president made clear with the release of his de facto court-packing plan this summer, if Democrats are elected, we can confidently expect them to lose no time in remaking the court to their liking to ensure they get the policy outcomes that they want. But so, of course, the Supreme Court is not the only institution Democrats have a problem with. Democrats are also frustrated they haven't gotten a blank check for their far-left priorities in the Senate. And so, if Democrats win in November, they intend to change the rules of the Senate, specifically the filibuster rule. to ensure that they can steamroll through their plans to remake the government and the country. The Democrat leader made that very explicit last month at the Democrat National Convention when he said that his party would change the rules to pass Democrats' so-called voting rights legislation, more accurately described as a federal takeover of elections designed to give Democrats a permanent electoral advantage. He also indicated that his conference would move to change the rules to pass abortion legislation, perhaps Democrats' bill to codify abortion up until the moment of birth. Really, the only question remaining seems to be whether Democrats will abolish the filibuster completely or just render it meaningless by carving out exemptions for all Democrats' most cherished priorities. Now, Mr. President, I've spoken on the floor more than once about the importance of the filibuster. The founders intended the Senate to be a counterbalance to the House. It was designed as a more stable, more thoughtful, and more deliberative legislative body to consider, or to check, I should say, ill-considered or intemperate legislation or tyranny by the majority. And as time has gone on, the legislative filibuster is the Senate rule that has had perhaps the greatest impact in preserving the founders' vision of the Senate. The filibuster acts as a check on imprudent or highly partisan legislation. It forces discussion and compromise. And critically, it ensures that Americans whose party is not in power also have a voice in Congress. As one senator said a few years ago when abolishing the filibuster was under consideration, he said, and I quote, "Folks who want to see this change want to eliminate one of the procedural mechanisms designed for the express purpose of guaranteeing individual rights and would undermine the protections of a minority point of view in the heat of majority excess." That's Senator Joe Biden. Or as another senator once said when a change to the filibuster rule was under discussion, and I quote, "The bottom line is very simple. The ideologues in the Senate want to turn what the founding fathers called the cooling saucer of democracy into the rubber stamp of dictatorship. They want, because they can't get their way, to change the rules in midstream."
That's literally what I just said. Yeah, remember I said that. Just the analogy, you can't did that. Why aren't these little kids, Biden, Schumer, in prison? Put them in timeout. Not even prison, adult timeout.
Inflation or tyranny by the majority. And as time has gone on, the legislative filibuster is the Senate rule that has had perhaps the greatest impact in preserving the founders' vision of the Senate. The filibuster acts as a check on imprudent or highly partisan legislation. It forces discussion and compromise. And critically, it ensures that Americans whose party is not in power also have a voice in Congress. As one senator said a few years ago when abolishing the filibuster was under consideration, he said, and I quote, "Folks who want to see this change want to eliminate one of the procedural mechanisms designed for the express purpose of guaranteeing individual rights and would undermine the protections of a minority point of view in the heat of majority excess." That's Senator Joe Biden. Or as another senator once said when a change to the filibuster rule was under discussion, and I quote, "The bottom line is very simple. The ideologues in the Senate want to turn what the founding fathers called the cooling saucer of democracy into the rubber stamp of dictatorship. They want, because they can't get their way, to change the rules in midstream, to wash away 200 years of history. They want to make this country into a banana republic where if you don't get your way, you change the rules. It'll be a doomsday for democracy if we do." And
like I said, if you can't win, find something else to do. No problem. But y'all, no, we gonna change Black Lives Matter, all that bullshit. No, Black Lives Matter is a fucking sham. Has nothing to do with black folks. Y'all had nothing to do with black people. Y'all are, I don't know what the fuck y'all are. Demons. DLM, demon lives matter. No, demon lives don't matter. You don't matter. You're a fucking demon. You have nothing to do with black Americans. You're a piece of shit, and you're gonna die that way, a piece of shit. For everything you lied on and did and tried to claim that you care about black Americans, no, you're not no Black Lives Matter. You're gonna pay for that shit. Trust me. And yeah, exactly. That's the last thing you're gonna hear. You're a piece of shit.
It'll be a doomsday for democracy.
That's what y'all did. Y'all tried to change the rules. No, we couldn't make it because we needed Black Lives. No. You couldn't make it because you're a loser. Other black folks, the winners, us, people like me, we made it. Y'all had to cheat. You still got all day long today. You're trying to cheat. Cheaters never prosper.
The senator who said that, of course, was the current Democrat leader of the Senate. The same leader who has announced that his party will, quote, change the rules in midstream, end quote, to force through Democrats' priorities. Now, Mr. President, I suppose the Democrat leader could have had a change of heart. This once fierce defender of the filibuster could have become convinced that the filibuster no longer serves a useful purpose. But if that's what this is, if this is truly a principled change, then I would like to hear the Democrat leader endorse the abolition of the filibuster if Republicans win the election. I'd like also to hear him argue that a Republican Congress and a Republican president should be able to force through every legislative priority Republicans want, whether that's a real border security legislation or a ban on killing unborn children past the point in a pregnancy where they can feel pain. I suspect, however, that the Democrat leader has not had this change of heart. In fact, I suspect that if President Trump wins the election and Republicans take the House and the Senate, the Democrat leader will be happy to use the filibuster to check Republican legislation, just as he did during President Trump's first term. Now, funnily enough, I don't recall hearing much from Democrats about the need to abolish the filibuster back then. In fact, 32 Democrats, including then Senator Kamala Harris, signed a letter in April of 2017 calling on Senate leadership to preserve the legislative filibuster. In short, Mr. President, it's pretty clear that the Democrat leader's change of heart isn't principle. It's political expediency. Democrats believe that the rules should apply when they serve the aims of the Democrat Party, and that the rules should be abolished whenever they interfere with Democrats' far-left agenda. Mr. President, if Democrats abolish the filibuster, in whole or in part, it would, to quote the current Democrat whip, be the end of the Senate as it was originally devised and created, going back to our founding fathers, end quote. The loss of the filibuster would also create legislative whiplash, with one party passing all its most controversial proposals when it has unified power in Washington, and then the other party undoing all of that legislation and passing its own proposals when it gains unified power. To say that that kind of legislative instability would be bad for our country is an understatement. Sharp changes in federal policy every few years would mean endless confusion.
I published transcriptions of a secret meeting that CDC had conducted in 2001 called Simpsonwood, when they realized that the vaccination program was linked to the epidemic of autism. Congress said to EPA, tell us what year this epidemic started, and the EPA came back and said it's a red line, 1989.
Is there anything in particular that's in the media about you that's
This was 2 months ago. And see, you gave your kids that, whatever.
Hello and welcome to Trees, Tainment, and today what's like to the big. team, and she
made a massive announcement explaining what it was like to debate Kamala Harris. And she goes into detail explaining how it was to debate Kamala Harris. Check this video out.
Tulsi Gabbard's part of the Trump transition team, and she is here. So, Tulsi, when you dissected, we should say that, Kamala Harris back in the good old days of the Democrat primary, how did you perceive her, and what did...
Yeah. Drop the hammer. Yo, what the hell they do with Moscow Mitch?
all back, right?
Exactly. You know, this was exactly drop the hammer. That's why I stopped watching Forbes. All this shit like this. Drop the hammer. We don't want no more dropping the bomb, dropping the hammer. Let's just talk. Ooh, there's like, oh, this is like the and one basketball games, you know. Yeah, we don't want slam dunks. You know, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. We tired of dropping the bomb. That's why I had stopped watching Forbes.
The world is...
And now you got Mitch McConnell back at the front of this bitch. Is like, yeah, who knows?
Focus their laser, they've caused massive misery for American families. Prices are up across the board over 20%, 10 million illegal immigrants into this country. People from criminal cartels, drug dealers, people on the terrorist watch list. Kamala Harris proclaimed that Bidenomics is working. And she proclaimed that the border wall, she said it was a stupid waste of money. 2 out of 3 Americans say this country is heading in the wrong direction.
Anyway, but yeah, I got to go. But oh, you know what? I gotta show this too. They were mad, you know, whatever. They on some weird shit, and you gotta, I guess, sane people will laugh at this, you know. Like, why are you showing us a piece of salmon like that, right? And so, yeah, I'm one person, so I sliced it. Okay, you see how big they salmon sometimes. So I sliced it 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, right? Each time I buy, you know, when I either fry it or bake it or whatever, you know, some butter. But yeah, about a day ago, someone, oh yeah, I cut, but it was big enough, and I cut it in 3 pieces, and trust me, it's like, so that's what I'm telling y'all. You know, I ain't talking about the fools listening right now, but anybody who ever hear this, all y'all, just do, like I said, these little things, it drives these idiots crazy. They have to let me know that they did it too, because they saw me do it. It's like, so how is that going to help y'all win? We all know it's not helping the poor people, because they want more slaves. Now it's like, how is that going to help you win? You know, I'm talking to the general. But he's a witch general. He's a general of witchcraft. You know, he's a clown. You know, he's a witch doctor. So he is like, what? So just keep see what I'm saying? We don't even have to fight like that. All we got to do is, we're naturally talented people, you know. I'm good. I could cook. So they hate everything I do because I do it with talent, and so they hate it, you know. Yeah, just like Buddy Boy right there, you know, and the poor girl that she's a prisoner, and now she had a baby. Look, she just did her know. Yeah, she's a prisoner. You know, he's mad. Like I said, everything I do. So yeah, he's mad because he can't fuck like me. And that's why he's walking by now. She's mad. I'm stuck with this lame ass motherfucker. But everything. So that's what I'm saying. Just keep doing. And no, it don't mean I'm just so special that it's just they're that lame. That's all that means. You're not you're not you're not gonna get prideful. You're not prideful. You're not gonna get in trouble with God for being prideful. He made you that way. He blessed you. These nasty motherfuckers, they're evil. You're good. That's what I'm saying. Don't let them talk you out your game. Do everything you always do, and you're just doing what you normally do. You don't even have to elevate unless you want to. You're good.